Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. Today, in Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands, we are chatting with Anthony Day. His career spans over 20 years in strategy, technology, and innovation with the likes of Monitor, Deloitte, IBM, and Polkadot, working across multiple aspects of blockchain and Web3 technologies since 2016. Anthony helps large organizations and startups harness the benefit of using decentralized technologies to create commercially viable businesses and digital transformations. He's also the host of the Blockchain Won't Save the World podcast, bringing hype-free objective analysis into the history and trajectory of blockchain and Web3. Today, we're chatting about how to make Web 3.0 a safer place, the perfect holiday gift guide for you Web3 crazed loved ones. Now, listen, all gifts aren't created equal, especially when it comes to blessing your gamer crypto crazed friends. But what presents say, I love you, and I don't think Web3 is a complete scam? Web3, the world of blockchain, non-fungible tokens, and cryptocurrencies, is devilishly difficult to use for a product designed to democratize everything from investing to activism to art. Purchasing Bitcoin or Ethereum is as simple as opening an account with one of the numerous recognized exchanges and attaching it to a credit card or source of funds. Initially, the problem with crypto was that it could not be used on anything except illegal activity on the web, especially the dark web. All of that changed with the rise of NFTs and decentralized autonomous organizations, what we call DAOs, which now enable users to purchase digital art, invest in musicians in exchange for a portion of their royalties, or join clubs that grant access to IRL activities, IRL meaning in real life activities, such as concerts or networking events. However, taking part in these initiatives or working inside Web3 in general necessitates the ability to comprehend and act on smart contracts written in code, frequently in seconds. It's complicated stuff. And here to simplify things and chat making Web3 a safer place and holiday ideas for your crypto enthusiast friends is the amazing Anthony Day. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey, Zan. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Thank you for probably the longest introduction of all time. I really need to shorten that. I'm so sorry for forcing you to go all the way through that, but I'm really delighted to be here, and thank you so much again.
No problem. You are so fun. All right, let's start with making Web3 safer for all users, Anthony. So it might take days to learn how to invest early in an NFT that piques your interest or claim a reward for your contribution to someone else's project. And the difficulty is that some NFT initiatives don't have a website, so you must rely on Twitter to find out what's being given and how to acquire it. There might be several sets of instructions made more confusing by inconsistent advice from users on Discord, which is the majority site for Web3 discussions. And some of the advice is well-intended, right? But it's inaccurate, while other advice is totally malicious. So where do we even start at making Web3 a safer place? Talk to me about solutions that could lead to a safer Web3 experience per se.
Yeah, it's a really important one here. And I think Web3 has kind of taken the level of general literacy required from the average everyday person up a notch. Right? When we surf the internet today, we already have enough of a struggle of managing with the user experience or remembering our passwords and so on and so forth. But I think there's kind of four key tenets, and you've described many of them in the introduction there. Is you have technical literacy, right? Your ability to engage with Web3 applications, whether it involves tokens or crypto or NFTs, tokens, tickets, whatever that might be. You have to be able to have a wallet that holds them. You have to be able to manage the keys that look after them. And you have to be able to sign on or activate that wallet across the various different properties where you're going to interact. So you've got technical literacy to start with. Financial literacy. Now, not everything about Web3 is about investing. I think we've had a risk, or there is a risk, that we over-financialize everything related to the next generation of the web. It's not all about assets all of the time. Sometimes it's about identity. Sometimes it's about privacy. Sometimes it's about just participation, but in an anonymous way. So it doesn't always have to be about, I buy something, the price goes up. But a lot of times you are taking hold of cryptocurrencies that may go up or down in value. So financial literacy is important. You mentioned it, right? Where you get your information from. Unfortunately, a lot of it is fast-paced. A lot of it is informal communication rather than formal communication. the trustless web is very much about not having a centralized place where everything happens all the time, because that's against the ethos of what's being built in Web3. So then you need to have a level of social media literacy to be able to understand what's legitimate, what's not, who is objective, who's not. The second somebody mentions Web3 and then starts with the name of one token or another, chances are you can assess that they're not being objective, because they may be holding that token and they want to promote it to you.
Without a doubt.
So understanding their rationale, their motivations, and the motivations of others where you're getting information or knowledge from is super, super hard. And there's one last one, and I'm going to jump in and then over to you, Zen, because that's our framework for how do we fix this, is security literacy. Right? We've seen and we've heard about hacks. Generally speaking, blockchains themselves, the underlying infrastructure has not been hacked, but the interfaces, the wallets, bridges, exchanges have all had some degree of nefarious activity. Yes. Yeah. And so how do we protect ourselves and our keys and our tokens and our wallets from those sorts of hacks and also social engineering, right? You've got 4 tiers of knowledge that somebody needs to have to feel comfortable in space, and that's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's quite basic. And yes, the fact is that most cryptocurrency fans desire more precaution against scammers. So we definitely have to create a more complete user experience. And the fact that most consumers can't understand the complicated language and terminology is evident. And it's an evident barrier to adoption and a simple opportunity to be deceived at this point. So, the NFT sector is decentralized, and self-custody is a key component of Web3. And this is a significant departure, Anthony, from Web 2.0. Educational tools and edutainment like this show are going to allow for the safer integration of new people into the space. And Web3 might become the next paradigm, but only if the community tackles the usability and security issues that now are plaguing this arena. So yes, to your point. Now let's go back. Security is extremely important here. It stands as one of the most crucial features as in Web3 powered world. Tools and applications hosted over the blockchains go mainstream. So over 6 months of the bear market, coupled with countless hacks, it's forced crypto investors to realign their investments with ecosystems that reflect safety. And as a result, Web3 entrepreneurs are expected to make, to take measures into their own hands that ensure the long-term success of what they are offering. What are some of the safer blockchain ecosystems, Anthony, to your recommendation, Animoca Brands being the mother of all? Talk to me about these.
Yeah, I know Animoca is sponsoring the show, so we had to get that one in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kind of display or kind of go through the things that I believe a secure ecosystem represents, right? And there's also there's multiple levels to this. So you've got the blockchain itself, right? How likely is any of the information or the data that sits on that blockchain, your holdings or which tokens you own, the database of wallet addresses, number of tokens. In most cases, it's that simple. Smart contracts is a layer on top of that. But the more decentralized, typically, the more secure. So the more nodes that are hosting the network, the more validators that are collating transactions and processing them to make sure that there's no nefarious action, typically the better. If you have a small number of nodes and a small number of validators, that means that it's theoretically easier to hack. So when you've seen a number of bridges, which is a way to move tokens between one blockchain and another, those bridges are often hacked by social engineering attacks, or in some cases by governance attacks, where actually people can accrue enough tokens to be able to represent a significant or more than 50% of a vote in some cases. Yeah. That's very, very hard to do where you've got thousands of validators, thousands of nodes. Where you've got 11 or 12, different story. So at the infrastructure level, at the blockchain level, decentralization does matter for security. When you're then getting to smart contracts, right? Smart contracts are that's the automation behind the applications that you run. Right? So when you're swapping tokens, or when you're playing a game, or when a particular application is minting NFTs, it's quite difficult for the average user to assess, is this smart contract buggy? Is there something in the smart contract that might drain my wallet, or that might result in value moving to a nefarious actor at some point? It's really hard to tell. It's like saying, could you or I debug the code behind whatever web streaming platform we're using? Or could we debug the code behind Twitter or the Twitter algorithm? Probably not, right? So in that case, we have to rely on others. And in a decentralized world, who's auditing that these smart contracts are correct? Who's going to put their, their reputation on the line to say there is no bugs here, there's nothing bad going to happen? And then if something does happen, who's liable? Yeah. And so I think in the next few years, we're going to see an increasing amount of what I would call decentralized insurance propositions, which is you can secure an amount of value in a smart contract or in an application, and that application will also hold funds in an insurance pot that, in the same way as traditional insurance companies do, that money might be invested. And also, we want to make sure that's audited so nothing dodgy is happening, FTX style. But you're seeing that there are insurance protocols underlying dApps, or even layer 1 or layer 2 protocols, so that in the event that something goes wrong, there is coverage. And that's what happens in Web 2.
Yep. So I want to be mindful of the time. We have about 4 minutes left before this segment is over. So let's move on to what presents say I love you. And I don't think Web3 is a complete scam. So let's start with a couple of old faithfuls. First up is Bitcoin. I know, people are thinking, what, people are still buying that? Yes, it's a classic yet thoughtful gift to provide your partner. It allows them to buy, the items that they're passionate about in the Web3 space. It's, it's the gift card of Web3, and it's super simple to purchase. What do you say to this? And do you have alternative recommendations, that you could suggest better than Bitcoin?
Yeah, so buying crypto is a little bit like buying stocks for Christmas, right? So it gives you an opportunity to engage with crypto. It gives you a token that you can hold. It almost is a forcing mechanism to say, well, how does this work? What do I do with it? Where can I spend it? And that will give somebody an opportunity to go a bit further down the rabbit hole. Maybe it appreciates, maybe it doesn't. They're not investment advice, but that's thing one. Things, if you want to go a level further than that. So my aunts and uncles in the States had a brilliant approach with their kids when they were much younger. They said, this was in the 80s, right? Or in the 90s. So this was a case where crypto didn't exist, but they said, give me the name of 3 companies. Which stocks do you want to buy? And they said, oh, I don't know. We like McDonald's because we go there and the food's tasty. We like Coca-Cola because it's delicious and sugary and wonderful and we're kids. And we like Microsoft because we all have computers. And so in the 90s, the family gave the kids $100 worth of those 3 stocks. And now, and over time, that's actually done really well for them. But it's forced them to be interested in those particular companies or in the stock market or in things going up and down. It teaches you some degree of financial literacy. I would ask the same thing of the kids, right? Give them a list of 20 coins. In there, they're probably going to pick the colorful ones, the ones with silly names, and maybe 1 or 2 random ones. And, in 10 years' time, maybe they 10x, maybe they 1,000x, maybe they all go to 0. But at least it gives you a mechanism to look more than just one individual token and get excited about what's in there.
Yeah, for sure. And for kids, TinyTap has a co-publisher NFT. It's not a game, but a co-publisher. So people could head to OpenSea.io/collection tiny courses. This is incredible because as a mom, I totally back this company, but it's co-publisher NFTs that help establish an alternative decentralized education system that basically supports and incentivizes teachers, which trickles down into benefiting the students and learners. And co-publishers NFTs could generate revenue for each co-publisher. So that's one thoughtful gift that I definitely wanted to recommend out there. Now for the ladies, so we want to get something more tailored for our metaverse man. I highly suggest looking into NBA Top Shop. It's an NFT marketplace that allows you to buy snapshots of NBA highlight moments that your partner will be able to own forever. These moments can be based on a player, specific team, fan interaction, or a play in basketball history. You have about a minute. What are your recommendations for NFT marketplaces?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ones, and oftentimes they are blockchain specific, right? So there'll be ones where you can only have Ethereum NFTs, where you can only have Solana NFTs, Polkadot NFTs, et cetera, et cetera. So depending on the blockchain you prefer, you've got different options. I think when you get into the idea of giving tokens to people, it's what does that represent? So if it's digital fashion, that's an interesting one because it's less in the area of I'm buying this because it's going to appreciate in value, but it's more about this is a way for me to express myself digitally with a lower carbon footprint. Right? If I buy 1,000 dresses, first, it's going to be very expensive. Secondly, it's going to take up space. And thirdly, the carbon footprint of each one of those items is really challenging to the overall kind of supply chain and kind of ESG impact of you on the world. Digital fashion presents a very, very different way of looking at that. Yes. Concert tickets, music tickets is also an area where we're seeing tokenization. Cristiano Ronaldo, if you're a soccer fan, has just launched his NFT collection on one of the well-known exchanges. So if you're a big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, you go check that out, own a piece of history from Cristiano. You could
Yes.
have NFTs that represent assets or skins within games. So I know Phantom Galaxies is one that Animoca has, Steppen shoes. You can go a step further and even go to the VR headset, right?
So much to talk about. Stand by, but because I just want to wrap the segment up, but you and I are going to speak behind the scenes right here and deliver more cool information in shows to come, because we have so much to talk about, you and I want to thank you for coming on. Enjoy the holidays. You are fantastic, expert at hand. Thank you for gracing us with so much knowledge.
I appreciate that, Zen. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely check out Anthony Day. He's on LinkedIn, solely on LinkedIn, so you know it's the real deal, at Anthony JJ Day. That was our Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands as a worldwide industry leader in digital, entertainment, blockchain, gamifications, and digital property rights. Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the metaverse. Ranked by the Financial Times as a high-growth company, Animoca Brands creates a new asset class, GameFi economies, and a more equitable digital framework contributing to the building of the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. We're chatting with the awesome Anthony Day. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hey, Zen, how's it going? You well?
Excellent. All right, let's pick up the conversation here. So you mentioned something that piqued my interest just now. So I want to address it, because we talked about what we want for the fellas, but now the fellas, we didn't talk about what the girls want. So what better way to show your woman some love this holiday season than to get her a shopping spree in the metaverse, right? So there are brands like H&M and Bloomingdale's who have digital stores where shoppers can try on clothes virtually and even get physical items sent directly to them, all from the comfort of their own home. Anthony, is fashion funner in the metaverse, and will this really translate to value?
I think the metaverse changes things in a bunch of different ways. What we're talking about with the metaverse is we're talking about virtual, digital, perpetual environments where we can maybe express ourselves even more than we would be able to, or we might be comfortable to in the real world. Or we live in particular parts of the world or cultures or societies where expressing ourselves is difficult because there are different restrictions on our lives, or society dictates that we must behave or act or dress ourselves in a certain different way. In the metaverse, everything's open, right? There are no rules. We can be anonymous. We can express ourselves in terms of how we look, what skins we have on our avatars, what items, what clothing we wear. We can go there and have a lower carbon footprint in terms of being able to have 1,000 different pairs of shoes, 1,000 different hairstyles, 1,000 different dresses, jackets, shirts, whatever you choose. And all it really costs is the effort the artist has to create that, and then whatever cost to call from the server that particular item and then render it. I think this is incredibly powerful for individuals' freedom. I think it allows us to be creative and open up entirely new industries or entirely new vocations for people as metaverse shopping assistants, as digital artists, as avatar artists, anything that's created in this space, even the spaces in which we gather, right? We assume that it has to be a building, and we assume that that building has to be a roof. But the reason we have roofs and doors on buildings is for security and weather, neither of which necessarily are an issue in the metaverse. And so the spaces which we create to convene as families, friends, as communities, even in a municipal sense or in terms of governance, can be incredibly different. And I think that's good news for everybody.
Oh, that's great news. It's fantastic news. And, another foolproof gift, we'll piggyback off of the entire conversation here for the crypto enthusiast friends, is a ledger, right? So the hardware wallet that allows you to keep your crypto and NFT safe from these potential hacks that we've been talking about. So for people out there that have never heard of this, think of it as the USB backup device for Web3. It keeps your private keys. Think of those as your credit card PIN number. It keeps them in a secure place and provides full separation from potential smartphone and blockchain transaction hacks. Anthony, what are your recommendations?
So what we've learned from a number of different incidents is that the old adage is not your keys, not your coins, or not your keys, not your crypto. There's variations on this. But ultimately, if you don't control the password to who can move your tokens around, who can move your money, then as a result, that presents a risk. That's not to say that everything has to be self-custodied all of the time. But as is typically the way, if you have everything in one place, right? If you have one ledger device, one USB stick with the passwords and keys for all of your cryptos all of the time, that is a single point of failure, right? If you have multiple ledger devices or multiple hardware wallets, you can have different cryptos or different private keys for proportions of your fortune or of your digital assets stored in multiple things. But again, with any of those, if you lose the USB key, that can be a challenge. So there are going to be a number of different solutions where people will offer to custody your keys for you. And if for whatever reason those get lost, or if somebody goes insolvent, what's the comeback? I would be asking for a number of these propositions. What happens if the exchange goes down? What happens if there is a bank run?
So which ones do you lean towards? Which ones do you opt for? What are your recommendations?
So if you're not going to self-custody everything all of the time, because either it's an admin burden that's tough for you, I would be finding a digital custodian, or something. It could be a Web3 DeFi protocol, could be an established bank, right? There are a number of fairly well-known high net worth banks that will support individuals to trade, to transact, because they don't want to do it themselves. And that comes with a bank guarantee. Now, that then brings a level of centralization and control back. And not everyone's philosophy is aligned that way. There are going to be some decentralized protocols where keys can be put into multi-signature, that can be stored and fractionalized out into the universe and only brought back in certain moments, that may be digitally more easy to replicate than having the physical device in your hand.
Right.
Ultimately, you need a balanced risk management approach, because I think having all of your keys and all of your crypto on one single device presents a significant risk.
It feels so counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive. Yeah,
it really is, right? You can have all of your keys on paper.
Yeah.
Right? In some cases, I have a backup of one of my wallets on paper in a safe in my father's house, which I'm not going to tell you where it is.
We're all running to Dublin. We're all running to Dublin.
That is part of my backup, because I know that at least there's a very low likelihood that anyone's going to find that safe.
Right.
And that whenever they get in there, they're not going to know what those words mean. Even less which blockchain it's attributed to. So have a balanced approach, do some reading, and try and figure out how much am I afraid to lose this, and what is the actual risk? If I give it to somebody else, what's the risk that they go insolvent, or that I'm going to be locked out of having those keys? Ultimately, the more you control, the more the onus is on you. But as we've learned from open banking and general financial literacy, that is not a strength of most people. And so that's going to be a difficult hurdle to get over.
Very true. Now, interesting. Last show we had William Rogers, who's a NASCAR driver, and I remember having a backstage conversation with him, and he was talking to me about the motorsport enthusiast. So, fellas, if you're listening out there, Rev Racing Car NFT. So it's a game, Rev Racing. You can, again, OpenSea.io. Pretty cool. Rev Racing Cars allow people to participate in the first ever blockchain racing game, and players could earn SHRED tokens, SHRD token, and Rev token during the gameplay. So it's really interesting. So I want to leave you with one final gift that the whole family can enjoy. You made a reference to it earlier, Anthony, about these VR headsets. So MetaQuest, it's a VR headset by Meta. I can't believe I'm plugging Mark Zuckerberg right now, but yes, MetaQuest, it's a VR headset by Meta where you can experience different worlds, from parties to parks, all virtually, and you can purchase it from their website, meta.com, and they're even offering Black Friday deals and deals well into Christmas holidays. So it's a great gift because it has something for every member of the family. What are your selections for really cool headsets, Anthony?
That's good. I mean, there's a number of different ones out there. Whether it has to be proprietarily tagged to Meta, or I would be looking for those that are more open, that are not particularly tied to one specific ecosystem, right? Because the metaverse is about open and persistent. So where you have the chance for more integrations, more connections, more apps, frankly, the better. Yeah. And I'm not saying that Meta is going to be specifically tied to what they're doing, but they're a commercial entity, they're a corporate entity. that's going to be something that's going to be in their priority, right? They've spent a lot of money to develop their ecosystem. It's still early days. I would be looking for the hardware that allows you the biggest spectrum of platforms or blockchains or metaverse environments to go play with, because that allows you to go and experiment more. We're super early, especially in the metaverse space. So the more you can experiment and play around and experience different environments, the better that's going to be for you as somebody exploring the space.
There you go. Well, we are out of time, my dear friend. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
It's been great talking to you too, Zen. Great questions and good luck with the show.
Thank you, guys. Definitely check out the awesome Anthony Day. He's all over LinkedIn. Anthony JJ Day. That was Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. Now, the holidays are a time to show the people you love the most how much you care about them. Don't let the FTX scam or any other Web3 drama get in the way of that. Instead, utilize everything that we just talked about and pick items that are your favorite and loved items that you can actually translate into something meaningful and valuable, and that you can enjoy the most of all. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands as a worldwide industry leader in digital, entertainment, blockchain, gamifications, and digital property rights. Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the metaverse. Ranked by the Financial Times as a high-growth company, Animoca Brands creates a new asset class, GameFi economies, and a more equitable digital framework contributing to the building of the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome to Hello Open Metaverse's special edition, brought to you by Animoca Brands. It is our holiday gift guide edition. It has arrived. But the perfect holiday gift guide for your Web3 crazed loved ones isn't as easy as you would think, because all gifts aren't created equal, especially when it comes to blessing your gamer crypto crazed friends. But what present says I love you and I don't think Web3 is a complete sham? Animoca Brands, a leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and gamification, is working to advance digital property rights and contribute to the establishment of the open metaverse. Now, there's one great ecosystem to start with that is trusted. So here are my top 5 holiday gift ideas by Animoca Brands. Number 1, MotoGP packs for the game MotoGP Ignition. You could head directly to their website. Owning the card, players could enter a competitive multiplayer management game experience. Players could win Rev Token as a reward during the management gameplay. All of the MotoGP Ignition NFTs, including both the game assets and collectible cards, are officially licensed and fully ownable. All ownership and scarcity is verified directly on chain. Now, each MotoGP pack includes 3 cards with a chance of receiving common, rare, epic, or legendary grade cards upon opening, with each hotshot collectible having the same appearance rate, and that's extremely proprietary. Now, Tower Battle card, you'll find that in the game Crazy Defense Heroes. Head directly to their website. Tower is associated with a tower defense game, so Crazy Defense Heroes is what we're talking about. Tower will have at least 2 play and earn events every month. Players could earn Tower Token, and when they participate into the play and earn ecosystem, it enriches all. Players could use the Tower Token to purchase in-game items on Tower Web Store, and they could also earn Tower Hero Points when they spend Tower Tokens. Tower Hero Points are also going to allow players to redeem valuable NFTs. For example, Other Deed NFT from BAYC. Lots of cool stuff there. Agent Zero Jacket. You will find that in the game Life Beyond. That is my number 3 choice. Early access is guaranteed to all alpha and beta phases of Life Beyond game. Become an Agent Zero, which is pretty cool. Now, the jacket uses a special technology that is based on molecular resonance principles, and more on this is going to be revealed later with the full backstory. So if you're into all that cool stuff, definitely check that one out. My next one, number 4, as a mom, I definitely have to endorse this, TinyTap. Definitely check them out. TinyTab co-publisher NFT. It's not a game, but it's a co-publisher NFT. And a co-publisher NFT They help establish alternative decentralized education systems that basically support and incentivize teachers, which trickle down into benefiting the students and learners. It's a great, great gift. The co-publisher NFTs could generate value for each co-publisher, creating wealth for all and within the Tiny Tap community. Really cool stuff. Then you have Rev Racing Car NFT. That's my fifth choice. You'll find that in the game Rev Racing. Head directly to their website. Rev Racing allows people to participate in the first ever blockchain racing game. So for all you motorsport enthusiasts, you could earn SHRD token and a Rev token during the gameplay. So you'll get properly compensated. There you have it. Those are my 5 choices, brought to you directly by our safest platform, AnimocaBrands.com. Definitely head there for all the action. That was Hello Open Metaverse. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.